As is usual, the coffee chat is in session. And guess who's here? Hardy Jokos. Have you had any sleep?
Hardly. I don't know how I'm functioning at this stage.
Jeffrey Stevens.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good to see you. Good
Welcome
to see
again.
You. Thank you.
Heidi, let's kick this off. Business Day, front page. Although their main headline has to do with the health body, that it's a study that points to race bias, our focus is actually on the side story that's on the side of that paper, and it says, Gordon tells SAA strikers no more money. So, what are we likely to hear this morning? Urgent media briefings have been called.
Exactly, and one must remember that the unions, together with the airline, met with Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan yesterday morning, and the minister actually released a statement shortly after that, late afternoon yesterday, saying that the airline does not have any more money. It doesn't have the capacity to give any salary increase above 5.9%.
So he was reiterating his point that he made, in fact, last week when this strike kicked off. He was in New York at the time, yes, where he was telling people that this parastatal, or this airline, rather, is not too big, you know,
to fail, yes.
It's not too big to fail.
To fail, yes.
Now, in this article, he essentially says, look, this meeting was called by the unions, so we're merely responding to their call for this meeting to take place, but just saying exactly what you're saying, there's no more money.
Exactly, and something very important that he mentioned in that statement was that in the last 3 years, the airline has received 20.5 billion rand in fiscus support. That is a lot of money that they've pumped into the airline, and now the airline finds itself in a worse situation. You have workers striking, workers are demanding more money, they're demanding 8%, they're also demanding procurement deals to be re-looked at. So the airline finds itself in a very difficult position, but Public Enterprises Minister has emphasised that they need to save the airline, but they also need to make sure that they try and save as many jobs as possible. And the strike is not helping the situation whatsoever. So he was just reiterating what the airline has been saying all this time, to say, we understand your concerns, but you also need to understand where the airline is and the long corruption that has happened over the last couple of years that has led to the airline being in this current state.
Heidi, I have a sinking feeling here that it must probably be workers who have had to make compromises here. 6 days of no pay. Was it worth it for 5.9 that they, if it is the truth that today we may possibly be told that the strike is over, could they have accepted that 5.9? It was offered before they went on strike. Was it worth it?
So initially the airline said 0% salary increase. They cannot offer anything. But then when they realized how the strike is going to impact the airline, they pushed it up to 5.9. But the unions are demanding that 8%. So it's going to be interesting to see what the unions are going to say in that briefing at 9:30 between NUMSA and SACA, and if they've decided to say, we'll accept the 5.9, or if the airline miraculously got money from some kind of lender to say, okay, we'll give you that 8%, which I highly doubt, because in that press briefing yesterday, they emphasized, we do not have money. We are giving you 5.9% or nothing.
Jeffrey Stevens, the front page of The Citizen. Here comes Eskom's X-Man. And let me just read the text below that. As controversy rages about his appointment, the new Eskom CEO, Andre de Ruyter, is expected to trim the power utilities' bloated workforce as it struggles to keep the lights on. And his history suggests he will do just that. That's according to an expert. Is he going to cut jobs at Eskom, and might he be friendly then to unions?
Unbeknownst to many of my colleagues here, as a former civil servant, this guy...
What?
My belief is that if we go to the place where I started my fledgling career, this is more than 2 decades ago, the same systems are still being used today. And for me, Eskom, SAA's problems are twofold. You have outdated systems as far as workflow is concerned. And secondly, there has to be someone that comes in and looks at what's a day in the life of an official at SAA, what's a day in the life of Eskom, just to give us a day stream of what the workflows are. And there, I'm pretty sure that we would gather where the problems lie and where efficacy could be improved as far as day-to-day tasks are concerned. Firstly, the unions, it's understandable that they would only look after the interests of the workers because that's what they get paid to do. So they would carry on with these demands, irrespective of the damage it concerns or it does to the economy. So for me, there's so many things that need to be looked at as far as these two entities are concerned. The simplest way to look at it is we need to get a strategic consultant in to look at the workflows and the systems, repair those, and then you can look at the staff complement.
You've said a mouthful. Actually, going to come back for you. All I know is that the NUM is planning a welcoming party in the form of a protest.
It's gonna
when he starts work, when he starts his work on the 15th of January. Not much of a welcoming party, I tell you. Talk us through the sports pages.
Quickly, yes, the Citizen Sports is a wonderful story on Siya Kolisi and his importance and how that has shot up from his leading the team in Japan and clinching that World Cup title. Also, the golf, looking at the President's Cup coming up at between 12 and 15 December. All of the international team that Ernie Els will captain are keen to play Tiger Woods in a game. And then in the Sports Day, there's a cricket story looking at the Proteas and what they need to do to show some fight against England in the Test series. Yes, they need to plan to halt slide against England. There's a huge focus on the batting and the fragility of the batting, and coupled with that, the bowling group have also started to struggle in the Test arena. So plenty of work lies ahead for the Proteas and its management team.
Right. Hardy Jacques, thank you very much. I know where you're going to be heading after this. Just by the way, we're going to be speaking to Christopher Shabagu. He is the president of SA Cabin Crew Association.
Yes.
And also in this hour, we're going to be chatting to the acting chairperson of the board at SAA, that's Ms. Thandeka Mkotu. So it's going to be interesting what they're going to tell us.
Most definitely.
Perhaps ahead of 9:30 when these briefings are going to take place. All right, thank you guys.